we're expecting judgment from this particular case. And yesterday, everybody was expecting that it was a day for the judgment, not that it was a day where they make all their final submission and all of that. And everywhere the atmosphere was tense in Rivers State. People were expecting either the governor to be declared by the elected governor or to be removed and all of that. Part of the allegation is that the governor Fubara did not resign as an accountant general, and that was against the electoral law. So in all of this, what expectation? What are we expecting? That's number one. And what date is the judgment? We don't know yet. And so what if it happens? So what do you see to making out of this whole scenario?
First of all, good morning to Nigerians and good morning to Rivers people. Thank you once again for having me. I think whenever I'm called upon to get to talk on this particular issue, it's usually I look at issues from the angle of the betterment of our state and of the country. Now, the Supreme Court, we had expected that yesterday the Supreme Court would have just, after the adoption of briefs and all that, because the briefs have already been, I believe the justices of the Supreme Court have gone through the briefs and have read them, and also come up with their own sentiments and all that, decisions on the matter. So some of us had expected that after the adoption, they would have just gone ahead with the judgment. But unfortunately, the Supreme Court, in its wisdom, decided to take a different turn and decided to take the turn of reserving judgment for a later date, which will be communicated to councils of both parties. However, it is also important that, of course, there is always a time frame for these issues, which by the 26th of January, that time frame would elapse. So in the light of that, the Supreme Court definitely will give judgment on or before the 26th of January. So, of course, anytime from now, we're expecting that the judgment would come up. And, of course, the issues that we also raised, especially the issue of resignation and all that. The issue of resignation is strictly an issue of an issue that the court will get to look at. So if the governor had resigned, the governor said he resigned, he should be able to present it before the court to say he has also resigned. So if he didn't resign, of course, it's also a grounds also, which is properly raised and all that. So, but definitely we can't actually dive into the crux of the entire matter because it is sub judice and we expect the Supreme Court to rule on it. So we can't take decision as to whether it's going to go left or right at this particular point. So we'll all go fold our hands and wait for Supreme Court to give its judgment.
A lot of permutation have been going on, both on social media, discussions and what have you. People have started giving some kind of where it's either there will be a call for a rerun election or the governor will be removed and to a call of the APC will be declared governor. People just all kind of permutation, all kind of discussion, all kind of suggestions. We have social media Supreme Court. Let me use that word. People are already judging the case that you don't even have an idea of what the lawyers argued before the Supreme Court justice, And so for me, my concern is that I just like what happened in Kano and Plateau State. A lot of things were averted by the Supreme Court judgment. The tribunal, the appeal court has sacked the governor of Kano State. And the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. This guy is elected governor of Kano State. And I think that avoided a lot of bloodshed because we're expecting that the whole place was tense that day. And in Plateau State, our concern is that the appeal court now, that the judgment that the Supreme Court said, look, these guys erred in their judgment. But it's affected a whole lot of people. Senators, House of Rep members, Assembly members has also been sacked. And the Speaker of the Assembly now said he's not going to recognize those that were given a certificate of return. So a whole lot of issues. What do we make of all of these judgments in our judiciary, so to say, from the tribunal to the appeal court and to the Supreme Court? What will you make of our judiciary, especially when it has to come to political issues?
I have been an advocate and one who have always criticized our judiciary, the way it has presented himself, especially because the judiciary as presently constituted is being controlled by political elites in the country, and which is not a good thing for us as a people, because we expect that judges should be able to hold themselves in high esteem and take decisions on the merit of matters presented before them, not by the influence of these politicians or political giants or gladiators we have here and there. But we must also remember that currently what we find in the judiciary are people nominated and assisted by politicians to become judges and justices. So you now find a situation where in the judiciary, sons, daughters of politicians, wives of politicians are made magistrates, are made judges, are made justices. When matters, political issues are brought before these same persons, what do you expect? Do you expect justice? These are some of the challenges we are having. So you now see that even members of the bar who are eminently qualified cannot become judges because they do not have any political godfather or assistants to be pushed to that particular extent. What happens to them? They now focus themselves on, they now rely on these politicians to push them. So you find that justices we have, especially this new set of justices you have, you now find that they are either cronies, friends, family members, relatives, or politicians.